Thank you so much.
Perfect. I have it lined up that way.
Me, you, then
You don't have your You bring it.
still hot.
Well, I have anything on my mouth. I just got done eating.
You look good.
Welcome back to the NCAA Women's Final Four pre-championship press conference. Joining us on the stage are the Texas Longhorns. We'll hear an opening statement from Coach Shaefer and follow up with questions for Rori, Madison, and Shay. Coach, if we could start with your opening statement.
Yeah, thank you. First, just really proud of my team. They have shown great toughness and resilience all year long. Not much has been made of our potentially early in the year losing 2 starters, and yet this team just continues to work and get better. It's been great having Rori back after her injury a year ago. But this team's earned it. They've earned their way. I have been really honored to be their coach this year. They've done everything we've asked them to do and then some. The good Lord's blessed me with just an incredible group of young ladies. And for them to, our first year in the SEC, to go in there and be co-champions with South Carolina is, winning's really hard, y'all. And people think it's easy till it ain't. And this group has just continued to work hard, get better. Booker's had another All-American year, obviously, 2-time back-to-back first-team All-American, special kid, special player. All these kids, tell you, on my team, what makes them fun to be around, first of all, they're a hoot off the floor. It's a pretty loose group. But on the floor, there's so much humility in our locker room. Kids are grateful. And that's, unfortunately, in the real world, that's not real common. But it is on our team. We have a team full of grateful and very humble kids. And so we're honored to be here. We're honored to be representing the University of Texas. And, I think this group, we have a thing right now that, job's not done. We're excited that we got past the Elite Eight in Birmingham, but these kids are here to compete, and so am I. And I couldn't be more proud to be with this group. I've told them all year long, y'all, they're good enough. I knew what I was looking at back in August on the track. I've seen it every day. I think we've had 106 or 108 practices, and they're good enough. And I'm really happy for them that they're here. They've had a great time so far, but they've separated the good time from work, and when we've stepped on the court the last 2 days, they've done a great job. So hopefully we'll play, we're going to play really well tomorrow night, and again, I couldn't be more proud of a group of young ladies. They are special.
With that, we'll start with questions for student athletes. We'll go to the front.
David Cloninger, Post and Courier. Madison, this will be the 4th time you've seen South Carolina this year, and that's the 4th time you've seen Bree Hall this year. What do you think of Bree Hall as a defender?
She's a great defender. I mean, I was kind of shocked she wasn't on like our conference defensive team or anything like that. Long, lean, athletic. She definitely makes you think on the court as an offensive player. Yeah, she's a great player. I totally have all my respect to her. Definitely, make me think. Like I said, great player.
We're going to stay to our left in the center. You can raise your hand.
Jen Hadfield with the Next. For all 3 of you, it was just mentioned you guys playing South Carolina 4 times. Can you talk about kind of how you approach that, and does it feel like you know them inside and out at this point, or just how are you guys approaching that familiar matchup?
Yeah, I feel like we do know them inside out as much as they probably know us inside out. So there's this saying that we've kind of been living by since the tournament started, but once talent meets talent and all that, it's basically, it doesn't really matter anymore. It's about preparation and who's going to step up on the biggest stage that we are in right now, and who's going to be the tougher team. So
We're going to go to the middle, right here in the black.
Leo Haggerty, Amped Up Sports here in Tampa. For all 3 of you, Shay, starting with you, when you get here, it's a business trip. Which one of your teammates is basically saying, okay, we're here for a reason? Who's the one you're looking for that glue to be to keep that team together?
Yeah, we're a veteran group, so I would say there's more than one of us doing that, which I think is partly what separates this team from years past. I think all of us, even the young kids, know that this is a business trip, and yes, our days are jam-packed with a lot of things that aren't necessarily practice, and you have to separate that, like Coach said, but I think we've done a really good job of that. But yeah, I would say obviously we have a good amount of seniors, so we're all good about that. We try to preach to our freshmen, but honestly, they don't need that much help. Like, they know it just as much as we do, the work we've put in to get here.
Yeah, basically what she said, and we understand, like, you know, this is not saying it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, obviously, but you don't get a whole bunch of, like, chances to go through this. And so we do, like, understand we want to enjoy the moment and stay loose, but when it's time to step on the court, like Shay said, we know what's at stake. You know, we want to stay here as long as we can, so yeah.
Madison, I think you're next.
I'm so sorry, but what was the question?
Can you repeat the question for her?
Who's the glue that keeps your team together now? Being that this is a business trip, you want to make sure you stay focused. Which one on your team is responsible for that?
I would definitely say our freshmen. I think they are the key to our team. They're definitely, you know, I think they help us, you know, stay in the moment and have fun. Kind of like throughout this journey, you know, it's kind of, you know, get nervous sometimes thinking about it that, you know, some people last game. And, you know, they kind of just help us, you know, like get our mind off of that, you know, have fun and, you know, be ready to play.
We're going to stay to our right here, sir. I see you.
Dennis Delapena from Fox 7 Austin Sports. For any of the three that want to answer, you know, Vic's been really close to winning this whole thing. What kind of wisdom is he dropping on you guys for somebody that's been here twice before to the final? And how much maybe do you want? I know you want to win for you, but maybe to get it done for Vic.
Let's have Rori answer that.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, he's how many? 7 out of the 8 years in Elite Eight. So I think getting to the tournament is one thing, and then you're getting to the Elite Eight, and then now we're in the Final Four. But obviously, he's been here before. That just means a lot. Like, that's kind of why we come to Texas, because he knows how to win. Like, he's quite legendary. And so when we look at these games coming up, and obviously we want it for ourselves, but someone who, like, sacrifices, like, spending family time and sacrifices his sleep most times and, you know, stuff like that, like, it's so hard for us to just not want to do it for him. Like, we got to not be so kind of tied up in ourselves and wanting the success for ourselves, but we have to show our respect and appreciation for him and, of course, the rest of our coaching staff.
We're going to transition to our right-hand side. He's behind the pillar, so he's going to have to stand up for you.
There we go. Hey, Jeff Jones from KVU there in Austin. For Madison and Shay, Vic mentioned earlier the impact of losing 2 starters earlier in the season and still making it this far, similar to what y'all went through last year when Rori went down. Madison, what does that do to the team? And Shay, what does that say about the team being able to make this run without those impact players?
Yeah, I definitely think it's, you know, it's kind of sad that, you know, 2 of our starters kind of went down. But they had, like, impact on the floor, but also off the court, too. I mean, they're talking. I mean, they're vets also, so they've been in these situations before. So I just think, you know, there's, like, their impact off the court as, you know, telling us, you know, things that we need to do. They're seeing stuff that we don't see as we're on the court, but they see what coach is talking about and what we need to fix. And so that's basically, you know, like some more eyes as coaches, just like on the sidelines with us. But, yeah, they're still helping our team out. Like, they're still part of the reason why we're successful as a team.
Yeah, I would say it says a lot about our team. And obviously, like you said, it's happened in years past, too. And so I think that really shows, like, how much Coach Shaefer and the rest of the staff preaches. Like, you never know when it's going to be your moment, so you need to be preparing every single day like it's going to be, because once it is, you don't have time to prepare just then. Like, you need to be ready for that moment. And he does a really good job, I think, about just really preaching that every single person on a team is needed, no matter what your role is, star in it. And I think this team has really embraced that. And like Maddie said, even when they, if we do have some injuries, like they're so in it even when they're not on the court with us, like they're coaching us, they're helping us out, they're in our ears and everything like that. So I think it says a lot about this team, and I think that's part of the reason why we've had the success we've had.
We're going to stay to our left in second row. We're going to hit Michael and then the gentleman on the far end.
Mike Vopel, ESPN.com. Rory, as hard as you play on defense, and I know that is a Texas thing, but you're going full bore out there every second you're on the court. How long did it take after injury for you to trust yourself to be able to go that hard, to be back to the way that you like to play defense?
That's a really good question. Well, to trust myself, I think it took some time. It wasn't that I didn't trust myself, but I think I just needed more reps. I remember catching myself, going through practice and obviously earlier in the season, and Coach Shaefer's like, "It's getting better. It's getting better. You're looking more and more like yourself every day." And sometimes, I would say like, I can feel myself wanting to do those certain motions, and it's not like I can't trust myself, but I just needed more reps. And so I think if I didn't trust myself at that point when I was cleared, then I probably shouldn't be on the court. So I think I trusted myself really early on when I was being cleared. I just needed more reps to do it. And just the more reps, me being on the court more, not being afraid to take those steps. Like, you don't need to be afraid. Like, I'm here, doctor cleared me, I got protection on. Like, there's so many things that, you can't be feared. You can't fear going back out, and you can't not want to just not think about it. So, I think I trusted myself really early. I just needed more reps.
We can go to our left on this corner.
Bo Underwood, USA Today. This is for whoever wants to take it. But when it is your fourth time playing a team in a season, like how difficult does that make it to prepare for this game when you might feel like you've covered all the ground with this opponent?
Let's have Shay take this question.
Yeah, I would say it's our fourth time playing them, but it's also their fourth time playing us. So it goes both ways in the sense of like, obviously on both sides, it's going to be a really well scouted game. We're going to know play calls, all that stuff. So it's just really how you execute it. You can put in different things. I'm sure they're doing that as well. But at the end of the day, like Rory said, like talent meets talent. It's who wants it more on that given day. So we have to go out and be ready for a tough and physical game. And really just have the energy.
We're going to go to our right-hand side, gentlemen, in the gray, then we'll work our way over.
Rory, Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. When Vic was recruiting you, did he tell you you're going to have to play 40 minutes of defense every night? And I wondered how much he stressed that, and why are you guys so special on defense?
I don't think he had to stress it to me because I think he saw that I was already doing it. I've been playing defense for quite some time, high school and leading up to this point, but that's the reason why I chose to come here, or part of the reason why I chose to come here is because he took that much pride in defense. And I was already showing that at a young age that I really did care about defense, and I understood the fundamentals of defense. Obviously, I didn't know everything then, and I just completely learned a whole new wave of defense here. But, he didn't have to really, preach that to me, honestly, because he knew I had it.
We're going to stay to our right here.
I'm Gigi with Overtime, and what's something that we don't know about Coach Shaefer?
He used to be an umpire. And he
I
loved
didn't
doing
even know
it.
that.
He used to be an umpire, and
coach.
he used to love doing that a lot. There's a lot of things I think that you guys don't know, but that's he used to love doing it, and then he decided to take that route of becoming a coach, which I like that route.
We're going to stay to our right here.
Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. Rory, you guys have been in some high-scoring games, but the TCU game felt like it was more gratifying, your kind of ball. Do you prefer those kind of gutted-out type defensive battles, because that's what South Carolina might be stacking up to be?
Yeah, I think depending on who we're playing, TCU and South Carolina are two completely different teams. But during that TCU game, we knew they're as far as their offense, they're quite the efficient offense and one of the top offenses in the nation. So we really did have to hone in on defense. And trying to keep the score as low as possible and not like let it just keep going up. Because I think that's when we keep teams. Our goal is like keeping them under 60, and then also apparently we just found out a stat earlier today. Don't say it? All right. That's fine. But let's just say, like, when we are playing the best defense and keeping the score pretty low, I think we're at a better chance. But with South Carolina, I think both of us are pretty similar in a way where we both can play defense and we both have weapons to score. So, like, kind of the name of the game is it's just, like, who's going to want it more on this biggest stage that we're at right now, and who's going to be tougher and bring the most energy.
We'll take our final two questions for student athletes in the row right here on our left-hand side. So we'll go here and then in the orange and white and pink shirt.
Sierra Sohi from The Ringer. This is for all of you guys. I'm curious, which player on the team reminds you the most of your coach and why?
Just due to time, we'll actually just take one if that's okay. And Shay, if you could answer that.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
I'm glad it's you.
Reminds me the most of Coach Shaefer? Ooh. I would say, okay, like on the court, we always say like point guard has to be an extension of him. So you definitely I catch Rori saying certain sayings that I'm like, okay, where'd you get that from? But I do it too. I think just the longer you're around him, you pick up these like sayings where you're like, oh my gosh, like that was literally Coach Shaefer. Off the court, he's so like outdoorsy and loves to fish and everything. I would say like maybe Taylor has the most similar interests. But yeah, those are my answers.
All right, we'll take our final question here. Center, if you could raise your hand, we can get the microphone to you.
Lindsay Plotkin, Longhorns on SI. Madison, so Coach Shaefer mentioned earlier that y'all like to have a lot of fun off the court, and yesterday we saw a bunch of TikToks, and y'all even got Coach Shaefer in one. How much convincing did that take, and then what does that just say about the vibe of your team going into this weekend?
I know. That didn't really take any much convincing. I think he wanted to be in TikTok. He was kind of, standing beside me, kind of sad that we didn't invite him. So I was like, just come on, Coach. Come on. You can do the money symbol. Yeah. But,
Okay.
I mean, that just tells you, the chemistry we have with Coach Shaefer and also as a team, too. Like, we want to have fun, like you see a lot of times that we're serious, that we're playing basketball, but, behind cameras, this is how we act. Like, we act like one big happy family, honestly. But, that's the chemistry we have.
At this time, I want to thank Rori, Madison, and Shay for your time today. Best of luck tomorrow. As they transition to the mix zone, the locker room is now open. We will begin with questions for Coach at this time. We're going to start in the front with Maddie and then work our way around. Hey, Coach, we're ready when you are. To our right over here.
Hi, Dick. Right here. Maddie Kenny with the New York Post.
Hi, Maddie.
You've been coaching for a while, so I'm just curious, the fact that Gino and UConn has made 16 of the last 17 Final Fours, what does that say about their standard of excellence, and do you consider them one of the greater sports dynasties?
Well, yeah, I think I mentioned this the other day. I mean, when you're a coach and you're really invested in what you do and how you do it, there's lots of coaches, y'all, that coach, and I look at them and think it's just a check to them, just like administrators, too, for that matter. But when you have somebody like Coach Auriemma, and I'll even go to Dawn, I mean, you have to respect the level of consistency of excellence that they've done it at. And certainly Coach Auriemma has done it a little bit longer, had that consistency a little bit longer, but just in the last, several years, you have to say that about Coach Staley as well. And so for me, I have a great deal of admiration and respect for both of them, and certainly for Coach Auriemma and how he built that program in Connecticut, literally with his bare hands from the ground up. And then to sustain the level of excellence that he has is really quite remarkable. And so, again, I think when you look at both those programs and see where they are, for me, again, I have been doing this a while. I have a great deal of respect and admiration for both of them because they have done it at an incredible level, and they're very consistent year in and year out. And in any profession, y'all, no matter what you're doing, that's what you strive for. I mean, if you're worth your salt, you're trying to be the best. Like that's where I'm at. I'm chasing the last game. I want it bad for these kids. So it's and it's hard. Winning's really hard. And those, obviously Coach REM has won a lot.
We're going to stay to the front. Mel?
Mel Greenberg. Actually, following up on that, if you looked at this whole field from above, from the helicopter, might this be the most impactful from the 4 teams, and the fact that whoever wins it Sunday night will have had to go through 3 gauntlets to win this thing? And the fact that these teams, as much as people cry, no Cinderellas, but this has been a standard of excellence. They've all been in the top 10 basically all year long, and flipped to the 5 a couple times.
I think they said 3 of the 4 teams have been ranked number 1 in the country this season. It's an incredible group. I mean, we're, when you think about every team, no team has very many losses, and I think everybody's a conference champion. It's really, again, whoever gets through this semifinal and final will have done it against the best of the best. And so I think for all of us, we all understand it. It's hard to do. And so you get this far, and it doesn't matter. I tell my kids all the time, they're always, when they leave to go to bed at night out of the film room or team room, they're like, Coach, you can go to bed. I'm like, look, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Right now, this is the most important thing in my life. And, for them, I want them to have every opportunity to be successful. So it is a gauntlet for sure. And so we'll kind of see how it all shakes out this weekend.
Coach, we're going to shift to our left.
Leo Haggerty, Amped Up Sports here in Tampa. Coach, the last time Texas was in the Final Four, Coach Conrad, 2003. A lot of your players weren't even born then.
Yep.
But you've been there twice. How important is it for you to have that experience to be able to relay that to your players?
Yeah, actually been there 3 times. I was an assistant at A&M when we won the national championship. And so I just, I told them the other night after we won in Birmingham, we got on the airplane, and before we took off, because I knew they were going to go to sleep and we weren't going to land till 2:15, I said, we're going to land, you're going to go home, wash clothes, and we're getting right back on the airplane. I said, from that moment on, you will not have a minute to yourself. I said, I realize you want to see your families. They're going to be with you, but I'm going to need y'all to really try to, if you get an hour, if you get 2 hours, you need to have that time to yourself. You need to take a nap. You need to refresh mentally as well as physically. And, you can visit with family when you're done with the spring semester. Not wanting to take away from any of that, because I know all of my kids, their families are here, and certainly I want them to enjoy that. But you just get pulled from so many areas, so many different directions, and I just want them to, we had a tough regional. I mean, we had to play another team from the SEC in Tennessee who's playing very well and is a really good team. Had a knockdown drag out with them. Then we had to go up against TCU, who's a conference champion. As Rori said, offensively, their efficiency's off the chart. Got a 7th-year player on their team, a 5th-year player on their team. That's their 2 best players. So we knew we had a challenge there. And obviously, if you watch that game Monday night, you saw how hard my kids played. So, yeah, it's something that was on my mind from as soon as it was over. And I had to tell my staff, too, we have to really try to lock in and really close the doors and lock out the distractions, if you will. And it's hard to do. And, again, for my kids, I want them to enjoy this. I mean, you guys don't know this. Every time they walk in a room somewhere, there's something there waiting for them. It's a box. It's a pair of shoes. It's warm-ups. It's a bag. I mean, they can't wait to leave here and go back to the hotel because they think there's going to be something there for them. I mean, we got them back last night from dinner. We walk into a room, boom, there's something. I mean, these kids this is special. Like, they need to enjoy this. Like, it's hard to get here, and yet it is a business trip. They're good enough. I want them to know that, but and you don't want to steal that from them. You don't want to take that from them. You don't want to minimize the joy of stopping by and seeing our friends at Nike last night and spending time with them, getting to personally meet Asia Wilson. I mean, how special is that for those kids? And she takes time to visit with them. I mean, like I said, every room they walk in, I mean, it's Christmas. And for me, there's so much joy seeing their face, seeing them happy, because I know how hard they work. Like my kids, they work hard. Like they embrace toughness. They know we talk about it all the time, and I'm always talking about it. And it's one thing to talk it, it's another thing to walk it. And they don't like to be told they've been punked. They take great pride in not getting punked. And when I tell them they've gotten punked, they do not like it. So they work hard. And so you want them to enjoy it.
Coach, we're going to take our next question from the center. If you could raise your hand.
Lindsay Gibbs with Power Plays. Coach, like you said, you've been here before, but what does it mean to get here with this program with such a storied women's basketball history, you know, your hometown? And I know you shared a moment with Jody Conrad after the Elite Eight win. Would love to know a little bit about that moment and what that meant to you.
Yeah, it's special. I mean, 5 years ago when they hired me, it was really important to me that Chris Plonsky, Kathy Harston, and Jody Conrad were in on that. I wanted their blessing because I know what they've meant to Texas women's basketball, but I also know what they've meant to the game. Those are lifers. Those are people that have invested their entire life and careers into women's basketball. Like there's some young folks up here, they don't understand. I do. Like I get it. I've seen it firsthand. This is my life. And I've seen it up close and in person, to know the domination that Coach Conrad had in the Southwest Conference days. I'm embarrassed I can't recall the number, but it's 100 and some odd crazy number, 80-something games of consecutive conference victories. So I know the history and the tradition at Texas, and, you know, like I said, that banner hangs in there. That 34-0 national championship banner hangs in my practice facility. The 2003, the last time they've been in an NCAA tournament, it hangs in my practice facility. So it's a tremendous responsibility for me to be entrusted with the keys to the program. But it's also why I wanted the job, because my vision is their vision. And my vision was to come into the office. And remember, I took it during COVID. So it was jacked up, bad. But my vision was to come in after a game the next morning and have coffee and have Coach Conrad come down from her office and talk about the game with me. Like, I embrace those moments. And so Coach is around a lot, and I love that. I love having her around. Like, it means a lot to me that she takes enough time out of her day, or, you know, where she is right now. I mean, she's a hell of a golfer, and, you know, that she would take that time to come by practice, hang out, be around. Like, I love that. Like, that's my vision when I took the job. I wanted to be around her. I wanted her to be around our program. And so, you know, she was there when we beat Baylor back in my second year. We beat them to win the Big 12 championship tournament game. Again, one of the reasons they probably hired me was to catch up to them and beat them and win a championship. And we did that pretty quick. And then to now be where we are now in the NCAA Final Four, I'm really, you know, I'm honored to be their coach, but I'm really proud of what we've been able to accomplish in a short period of time. It's been 22 years since they've been in the Final Four. It had been 22 years since they won a conference championship, and we've won 4 in 5 years. So I have a great deal of respect and admiration for those three, because to me, they are Texas women's basketball, and I love being around them. They're just wonderful, wonderful people.
We'll shift to our right, Ben.
Hey, Ben Pickman with The Athletic. Is there anything you're doing differently, and maybe the answer is no, in terms of routine or just with your players in terms of film study, practice from your times at Mississippi State right now during this week? Are you guys preparing any differently for a national semi and potentially the weekend?
Probably. Lots happened since 17. I know I did things different between the semifinal win and the championship game, 17 to 18. And so I would say, again, I don't claim to know it all. I don't ever think I'm done learning. I think when you're done learning, you need to hang it up. And I always, try to keep an open mind and continue to grow as a coach and learn. I think I'm more in tune with my student athletes, how they're feeling physically. If you're at a practice, if you were at mine today, I asked probably 4 or 5 of my kids, hey, how you feeling today? How your legs? I'm just a little more in tune. I think back in 17, I was more of a suck it up, we're all right, let's go, this is what we do, that kind of thing. I think I've changed a little bit. My former players would say I'm a way softer. That's not the case, but in their eyes, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, it was this way, and now I've always had former players on my staff. And so now it's like, oh, you're way softer. Well, I don't think I am, but I do think I'm more in tune with my student athletes, and I try to listen to them and how they're doing.
Going to shift to our left-hand side.
Craig White, Longhorn Radio Network. Vic, you mentioned what Coach Auriemma has done in building it from the ground up. You saw it firsthand when you were on Coach Blair's staff, building it at A&M from the ground up. What do you think in this day and age, transfer portal, NIL, everything else that's wrapped into it, is more difficult to do? To build a program from scratch, or to do what you're having to do, inherit a program that won 183 Southwest Conference games and has all the tradition and all that success? Which is the more challenge?
Well, I would say, Craig, again, the 183 was back, we'll just say in the day. It was in the 80s, right? I'm not sure I just inherited a roster full of, players. I mean, we played 6.5 kids that first year, and I think we were 7-7 in the league, or 8-8, and we win our first round. We were a 6 seed. We win our first round game. Then we got to play a top 10 UCLA team in the second round. We beat them. Then we have to play Maryland in the Sweet 16. They were averaging about 100 points a game, and Antonelli was telling the world Vic's not going to sleep for a week because they're going to hang 100 on him. And they scored their 60th and 61st point with 0.2 of a second on the clock, and we beat them 64-61 to go to the Elite Eight. But we weren't left with it. Shay's the only one left of that recruiting class that we inherited. She's the only one that made it past the first year. And so I don't think we were just left with a whole cupboard full of, team. So I feel like we've kind of built it from the ground up at Texas too. And so I think it is difficult. It's hard. We certainly did that at Mississippi State in inheriting a 14 and 16 team with 6 seniors on their way out the door. So, but I think what that allows you to do is it allows you to establish a fundamental group that if you get kids that fit, we always talk about recruiting to a fit, and then you can retain them and you can develop them. That's always been the secret to my success, I think, as a head coach. Recruit to a fit, retain them, and develop them. Well, the retaining piece is getting harder and harder, and there's no question about it. But if we can get them to do that, and we can get them to stay, and they'll let us coach them, I think the proof's in the pudding. And so it's something that we've taken great pride in. And again, I think you have to give my staff a ton of credit. I have the best staff. I've had some great staffs. I've been really blessed with some incredible staffs throughout my head coaching tenure. This one is incredible. If I had to rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, this one would be 1. They are really, really special. And Elena's been with me a long time, and we've seen a lot together. And of course, Lindsay and Blair and Sydney. You know, Blair and Sydney both played for me on Final Four teams. Sydney won one with me, and so it's really hard to do though. But I think it's, if you get the opportunity to build it with your bare hands and from the ground up, I think you can establish what you want done and how you want it done, so that every class after that, when they come in, those kids show them how it's done. And remember, that team that beat Connecticut in 17, there was not one top 100 player on that senior class. Not one. We couldn't get them. Nobody was going to come that was in the top 100 at that time. So, but that senior class established what we wanted done.
Unfortunately, we are at time.
You
So
have
Coach,
to let one of these. They've been raising their hand every time. Please.
I'll let you do it. It's your world. I'm living in it.
Thank you.
Jalen, please go ahead.
Yeah.
So I know that.
You got it
can
now.
you grab the mic?
Sorry.
I know you will.
Jalen Johnson, Rising Media Stars.
Okay.
You mentioned after that Elite Eight game that your family has taken somewhat of a hit in the times that you've been coaching, but you have had Blair along the way with you as a player, obviously as your daughter first off, but then as a player and coming to your staff. How have you seen her grow in those roles with you, and also how has that relationship been as with her being on the staff with you?
Well, let's go back to when she was a player. She earned her way. Tough. Took 90 charges in her career. That means she probably got trucked about 200 times. But she earned her way, made herself into an all-defensive player team in the Southeastern Conference. I mean, that's really quite remarkable. But her hard work, commitment, dedication, and again, playing for me, fair or unfair, I probably coached her harder than anybody. But I think she had the respect of the locker room and never whimpered, never said why, never complained, not 1 minute in her career. She'd come home she has a twin brother, and he's our miracle. We almost lost him when he was 14, but he's a miracle. He's great now. He'd walk in the door, you never know anything happened to him. But we'd have dinner on Monday nights, or off nights during the conference, and we grew up, everybody at the dinner table. We wouldn't spread out and people be watching TV and all. We were going to sit and talk about the day. And we'd talk about the old coach. I go, well, how was practice today? She'd say, well, he was a little grumpy today. He didn't think we played very good on Sunday. Or, he was okay. He was pretty happy today. We had a big win. But we talked in those terms. It was always third sense, third term, and that's how we got through it. And we had a lot of fun doing it that way. I wanted her, when she graduated, I tried to get her to come on my staff then. I had a bunch of young guards coming in. I needed her because she had been through the hard times, and she could help them navigate that. But she was hell-bent on going into y'all's job. She wanted to be in TV, wanted to be in broadcasting, and so Greg Sankey hired her at the SEC Network, and she did basketball games. And you can't make them do it, so I didn't. I turned her loose and let her do that, and she actually worked for the CBS affiliate there in Columbus, Mississippi, right down the road. So finally, about February, she called one day, and she was crying. I thought, good Lord, now what's happened? And she said, I think I figured it out. I said, what do you mean? She said, I think I want to go into coaching. And I thought, okay, well, what happened? She said, I prep for all these games. I watch film, so I know who I'm talking about. I go to shoot-arounds. Nobody has a shoot-around like we do. I do the games, and I can't help these kids. She said, I really feel like if I'm going to watch all this film, I need to be able to help them. And so I said, okay, look, it's February. You get through the season, get through your NCAA games, and we'll talk in April. So she did. She got back to me in April. She said, yeah, I think I really want to do it. So she's worked her way up from assistant player development. We came to Texas. She was going to be a player development coach, but at the last second, my DOB didn't come. She got thrown into that role just to help me until I could find somebody. Well, she did it so doggone good. I just said, look, you're going You're just going to do it. And so she stayed in that role, and then I moved her into a full-time coaching role. And, you know, she's been off the charts. Just got named a WBCA 30 under 30 assistant coach, and which I'm very proud of, both as a head coach, having somebody on my staff get that, as well as not the coach or the father. And so, you know, it's just, you know, I feel like with all these kids, they're, you know, I've been entrusted with them, you know, and I try to coach them and teach them, hold them accountable, just like I have my own too. And Blair has really, she's exceeded, in some ways, exceeded expectations this fast. You know, I've had phone calls from a couple of different universities wanting to know if there'd be any interest in her being a head coach. And she's going to be a great head coach one day. But I think right now she's locked into doing what we're doing together. And, you know, I like that too. And so it's been really cool. So I'm sure she's wanting us to hurry up and go. So, I appreciate you. The last thing I want to tell you is I do want everybody to know we have a bus coming of students from Austin. Rori and Book and myself, we've helped put a bus together and got these kids some tickets. So our students are coming from Austin. I think it's a 17-hour bus ride, but we've got some, Booker and Rori have really ramrodded this deal, bought the tickets, got them some hotel rooms. And so we're excited that we're going to be able to have some University of Texas students be able to come to the Final Four and enjoy cheering on their team. So, again, appreciate everybody being here today. Thank you so much for your coverage. Thank you all, and praise the Lord and hook 'em horns.
Just a reminder for everybody, a recording of this press conference will be posted in the NCAA's digital media hub.